Hey everyone, this is Trent, the retirement planning coach, and thanks for joining me on this video. In this video, what I'm going to do is dive into new retirement versus personal capital. A lot of my followers are DIY investors and might have used these platforms. And maybe you've used one and haven't heard of the other, and or kind of like are curious about which one you should be using. So before this video, I was thinking about what I wanted to discuss and which platform I wanted to go through and do a video on, and so I couldn't figure it out. So I was thinking to myself, well, I'll just do a demo of what I like about both, what I don't like about both, and then kind of what each tool does and how one complements the other. All right. And I'll tell you my favorite one at the end. So if you're new here, my name is Trent Grzegorczyk. I'm also known as the retirement planning coach, and I help DIY investors and pre-retirees secure their retirement fast and on their terms. I take a very educational first approach and use my experience as a fiduciary financial planner to teach individuals across the country how to build their own retirement plans using software programs like NewRetirement and like Personal Capital in my coaching program and in my community, which is called the Retirement Planning Club. If you're interested in getting some coaching and you're not really wanting to you don't want to hire a financial advisor, or you're just not ready for that yet, the Retirement Planning Club is a really good spot for you to call home in the retirement planning process. So without further ado, what I'm going to walk you through, that rhymes, is NewRetirement and Personal Capital. Okay, so let's start with Personal Capital, actually. Personal Capital is kind of like the original retirement planning platform that people could use to start planning for retirement on their own. And what I like about Personal Capital, I'll start there, is they provide a pretty seamless way of bringing all of your financial accounts together into one place. And what attracted to me about this platform the most was that it tracks your actual performance of your different accounts, which is pretty interesting and rare, actually, to be offered in a free way. So you can actually track the performance of your portfolio, which is really cool. And also you can dive into, you can dive into your asset allocation. And this updates whenever your accounts are updated. It'll just tell you how much is in stocks, bonds, and the different asset categories and classes. So Personal Capital, the two favorite things, are actually the top things that I really like about Personal Capital, is the performance tracking feature and the asset allocation calculation, and how it easily and quickly shows you your asset allocation in it if you need to update it. And you can also track your performance too. Another feature that I like is the retirement planning feature. And the retirement planning feature, this is just a hypothetical situation that I probably was trying to break in one of my previous videos. But what I like about it is it's very easy to create different alternative, scenarios, and you can jump back and forth between like spending different amounts and retiring at different ages, or taking Social Security at different ages. Whatever kind of scenario you're trying to model, Personal Capital can accomplish most of what you're trying to understand, as far as like, am I on track to retiring when I want to, and covering kind of like the high level areas of retirement planning. So I really like this clean Monte Carlo illustration of showing you the probability of a successful retirement and quickly being able to modify the different goals that you have, your income events. You can even see the detailed cash flow table, which I will get into this as a con in just a second. You can edit the assumptions pretty quickly, drag your tax rate. You can change your residence, inflation. You can change inflation, and life. So you can change the assumptions pretty quickly. It's all kind of right in front of you. So I really like that feature about personal capital. And so, like in summary, personal capital is really good for tracking your performance of your portfolio. It is really good for understanding how your assets are allocated. It is good for forecasting your wealth to see based on retiring at different ages and spending different amounts, and a few other variables like Social Security and your pension and how you take those benefits can impact your probability of success. And it does a really good job of doing that. The other thing that you can do is you can run a bear market simulation where you can say you're going to retire at 60 and a bear market happens a couple years later. How is that going to impact your trajectory of your retirement plan? And so you can kind of see how the portfolio takes a dip and never really gets back to where it was and reduces the probability of success from in the 90s to in the 80s, right? So that's really actually a really cool feature. But there is a con to this, which I'll get to in just a second. All right. So I think those are kind of like, and they have a mobile application, which is really cool. Not that you need to access the mobile application on a regular basis. I actually, I coach my students not to use the mobile app on a daily basis. It's good to use kind of, every so often. It's convenient on your phone, but you don't want to get in the habit, which I'm not going to get into, but it can screw with your emotions, especially during like volatile times in the market. Okay. Okay. So that just about wraps up the pros, the cons. The cons, you can't model Roth conversions. And so this is like one feature that they absolutely should implement. You can't model Roth conversions, and you can't change, like if you were to say, if I were to go from my current asset allocation, which, in this situation was, just call it 50-50, 50% stocks, 50% bonds. What if that was like 80-20? Or what if that was 40-60 or 30-70? You can't change a hypothetical asset allocation, and you can't model that what if scenario, which I think is another like huge failure on personal capital's part. Trust me, I really enjoy this platform, but these two features, like modeling Roth conversions in forecasting different rate of returns, to see how investing in different strategies in expecting different rates of returns, how that could impact your retirement, seems like a no-brainer. So those are some cons. Another con that I think is actually pretty like important too is sometimes the cash flow just looks weird. The tax planning feature in this is, I think, just a little bit weird too. There's too many like high level assumptions, and it doesn't seem as detailed as far as like NewRetirement is able to do. So like the lack of tax planning features and Roth conversion planning and asset allocation, changing and using different asset allocations and returns, expected returns, and modeling a scenario with that. Those are kind of the three main pitfalls. Also, I feel like the connections are broke a lot. And I'm not too familiar if I'm unsure. I don't think they use Plaid, but they probably should use something that is just a little bit more reliable as far as keeping the accounts connected that you link. So I would say like those are the primary cons. Another con, and then I'll shift over to NewRetirement, is my coaching clients get just hounded with advisors reaching out to them. I know that, this, and this is like one of the cons that's related to what I'm about to say. Personal Capital is an advisory firm, right? And so they offer free software with the hope that this is the lead magnet. People will start using it and then reach out for help. Great, it's brilliant. But if somebody should be able to elect within the settings, like, just don't contact me, because that could just turn them off. Like they actually might want to do business with you. But if you're just like contacted, just like constantly, phone calls and emails and phone calls, like, then you might turn them off, right? So Personal Capital, if you're listening to this, just like give people the option to totally opt out of all communication. And you'll actually be surprised somebody might like that and then appreciate, that you offering them to like not be contacted. So it's an advisory firm, but it's a very powerful platform. I would give it like a 7 to 8 out of a 10 in kind of the scale of like what you need to build a pretty solid retirement plan. Let's go over to NewRetirement. NewRetirement, very similar, but actually very different at the same time. NewRetirement is very planning focused. NewRetirement is, again, pros and cons, but let me go through the pros first. The pros: Roth conversions. If in fact you purchase the premium version, which I think is a no-brainer for people to purchase if they are thinking about doing Roth conversions. It's like, I think it's $96 a year, which is super cheap. Undercharging, in my opinion, based on the outcomes that it can do for you if you're using the tool properly. Okay. So Roth conversions, you can go into the Roth Conversion Explorer. Explorer. Run it. And again, this is a weird situation, so it's not really going to make too much sense. Just I've been fiddling around with too many things where this is not forecasting correctly. I should have tested this before recording this video. But regardless, what you can do with the Roth Conversion Explorer is push that button, and it'll give you a suggestion of like a schedule of converting assets. Okay. And which is pretty cool, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily like somebody shouldn't take that and just execute on those ideas, right? But what I do like about the conversion calculator is it shows you, like, I know this is insane. I should have like built a scenario that was just made a little bit more sense. Let me just go to another to see. No, it's still telling me weird numbers. Anyway, it'll show you, like, if you ever use this tool. I have other trainings on this that make way more sense than this. So just visit those trainings. It'll show you like how much more you could have in your estate, how much you can save in taxes by following that conversion schedule that they're like encouraging you to consider. Okay. Or what do they say? They say, I don't know what, it's essentially what like you should consider it, but it's for educational purposes only and is only used for estimations. So I do like that. But also what I like about the Explorer, Roth Conversion Explorer area is it shows you, like, if you were to convert and in whatever increments that it's proposing, here's the tax rate comparison between converting and not converting. And so you can see how your tax kind of bracket changes over time. You can see how your annual tax liability changes over time. So it actually gives you, like, in the future, it's really hard if you don't have a tool like this. It can be really hard to wrap your mind around the benefit of a Roth conversion, because a lot of people, like even a lot, just like most CPAs, operate on a year-to-year basis, and they'll say, yeah, like you could convert 50 grand this year. There's enough room in your tax bracket, and you can, maybe you'll pay less taxes, today than you will in the future. That's all well and good, but like, what's that mean over the, like, what does that outcome look like based on taking that action today over the next 30 years? They can't really say that. And I'm not saying this is going to be perfect, but it'll at least give you a really good idea of like the power of what a Roth conversion how it can benefit you if in fact, it makes sense for you. Okay. So super cool. And then you can do that also in the, you go into the money flow, and then you can model different Roth conversions specifically, and then see, and I have a whole training on this, which I'll link below. But then you can see kind of like the benefit of your specific conversion schedule that you're, thinking about doing. So I really like the Roth conversion feature that NewRetirement offers. Just let me go to the home screen. I also really like how they allow you to modify the rates of return. It's not based on asset allocation changes, but you can use, you can figure out what an asset allocation has performed, how it has performed, and back test it, and find out what the rate of return has been. And then you can use that to plug in your optimistic rate of return. You can use that to plug in your pessimistic rate of return. So there's a workaround of saying, okay, if I win, and I have a training on this too. But if you, were 50-50 and you were thinking about, becoming more aggressive or more conservative, you would just go figure out, okay, what has the 80% stock, 20% bond asset allocation? How has that performed over the last, 20, 30 years? Great. 8.5, 9%. And then what you would do is you would, plug in whatever number based off of that number that you want to plug in here. So I really like the ability to go both ways, like forecast lower returns, forecast higher returns, and do that side by side to see the difference between like staying in your current asset allocation or changing to another asset allocation. All right. Very, very, very powerful. Okay. What else? Oh, the tax planning area, huge. Like, this is gold. I'm not kidding. And the reason why is as you build different plans and you start to narrow down the plan that you're going to actually like focus on, you can go in and see the difference in taxes at the federal and state level, which is huge. Okay, I keep saying that, huge. But seriously, like you can go in and see how it's broken down into the different tax categories, and then how it's forecasted into the future, which is just this is so valuable for like the Roth conversion planning. It's just insane. And this is why I can't believe it's just $96 a year. I don't work for NewRetirement. I'm not affiliated in any level. I'm not compensated. They actually eliminated the referral bonuses for people that do refer people, which I think is kind of foolish, but yeah, not related to them. But I do love that. Like, this is one of my favorite areas to hang out in when coaching my coaching clients and when teaching people how to use this platform. It's just huge. Those are kind of like the top. Their Monte Carlo is pretty good too. What I like about the Monte Carlo Explorer is, you can easily tweak and change, kind of like, randomize the inflation, randomize investment returns. It allows you to kind of tweak a little bit, which is pretty cool. Personal capital allows you to do this too, but just it's a little bit different. Also, you can run it again. And so if you see here, if you look at the percent, you'll see that change, which is pretty cool, actually. Like, why should it show the same thing every time if it's like randomized events? Like, personal capital is literally the same thing every single time for every scenario. The only thing that changes it is like if you change your spending, if you change, just like if you have to change one of these factors in personal capital for this to change. Okay. But this, it still is random, which is just really, really awesome, actually. Whoever built this, kudos. What else? So I think that's all I'll cover for the pros. Let's go to the cons. The cons, you can link your accounts to NewRetirement, but you can't, it doesn't show you your asset allocation. Fail. Like, huge fail. I think eventually they might consider that. But I would say that, that was weird. The power just went out. Maybe they'll add it in the future, but who knows? They're very planning focused, not like analytical investment focused. So, but hopefully that'll change in the future. So, yeah, you can't, like when you go to your accounts, you can link an account. You can actually like sync it, and they use Plaid, which is good. But the downside to the way that they bring over values is they don't bring over holdings. They don't bring over the asset allocation. They don't categorize your different holdings. So that's a con. And with that said, they don't track your performance. All right. They don't track your performance of your portfolio, and they don't provide historical value of, value history of your specific like net worth and portfolio. So jumping back to personal capital, if you go to the overview page, you'll see, you can see your historical net worth, and you can change kind of like the time frames and whatnot. Looks like it's taken a little bit longer to load. Yeah, you can do 90 days, 1 year. You can do last year, and you can see how net worth changes over time. And you can kind of, tinker with a few other things to kind of, you can't do this with a NewRetirement. Again, like fail. They should be allowing you to track your specific net worth and portfolio value and account performance and asset allocation. Okay. What else for cons? You can't model a bear market, so you can do that in personal capital. You can't do that in NewRetirement. And what I mean by modeling a bear market was, if you remember the retirement planner, you can simulate a recession, like for instance, the 2008 to 2014 financial crisis. You can do that in here. You can run it. You cannot do that within NewRetirement, so that's a con. I'm indifferent about the coaching feature. So like if you go to almost all of my coaching clients who use NewRetirement or have used it before starting their coaching with me, this in NewRetirement, if you're listening, this confuses a lot of people. And it, I don't know why. Like I know where you're going with this, like to kind of automate the help and keep people like moving forward in the planning process. But for some reason, like everyone who reaches out to me, they just get really confused about like what the digital coach is telling them to do. And, if you go to all coaching suggestions, like people just kind of get stuck in what to do here. Okay. So I'm kind of indifferent. Like I like how it keeps nudging you. But at the same time, for some reason, I don't know why, people just can get kind of confused that I coach, and I coach a lot of people. Okay. And the last thing is, it seems like this chart here, let's see, 1.5 million by, what is it, one projected savings 5.9, projected savings. For some reason, the chart, the forecast that's here and the one that's on the overview page, it seems like they're always different, and I don't know why. So again, NewRetirement, if you're listening, let me know, because sometimes I just get a little bit confused on which one to trust, right? Because they're just always just a little bit different. Okay. But so that's kind of it for pros and cons of each. Which one do I like more? Honestly, I'm totally split. I hate to say that. I think that NewRetirement has more potential. But in the moment, I think you have to use both. You have to use one tool for a series of purposes, and the other tool for a series of projects and purposes, and use them for different purposes, and then answer all of your questions just using two platforms. That is the only thing that I can think of. As a do-it-yourself retirement planner, you have to use multiple tools for multiple different purposes, which is what we do as advisors as well. Like, I have a comprehensive financial planning platform. It's called eMoney, and I have a risk management and portfolio building platform that's called Riskalyze, and other platforms that I use for just like different purposes. It's just like building a house. You just sometimes you need a drill, sometimes you need a hammer, sometimes you need a screwdriver. Whatever it might be. You have different tools for different purposes, but you need to know, which gets me to the last few minutes of this video. You need to know how to navigate both. Like, you might have used both of these platforms, but I can guarantee you that if you haven't gotten expert help from somebody who's an expert in these platforms and who has like coached hundreds of people through this exact same like process of building your plan as a DIYer, you're missing something. I guarantee you that you're missing something. And so I would encourage you, if you're thinking about using one of these platforms, if you have been using these platforms, if you're confused after using these platforms, so what you need to do is you need to consider my retirement planning club. Okay. So this is brand new. Okay. There's literally 9 members in the club. Okay. And so 9 members in the club. So we're going to start small. But I literally launched this yesterday as of this recording. And so the retirement planning club is for DIY investors and pre-retirees who want to get expert help and coaching, but without all the commitment. So one of the biggest problems that I see is that people need help. They want help, but everyone and their brother just wants to manage assets under management, and they want you to roll over hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in order to just start working with them, which is absolutely insane. Like, literally rolling over millions of dollars to somebody that you've only had a few conversations with is just, it blows my mind that you've never met before, but now you're going to trust them with millions of dollars. Even if they were referred to you by, a friend or somebody that you trust, it's still kind of crazy, like, in my opinion. Okay. And, but people still want help. That's the thing. Like, you still want help from an expert. So how do you get help from an expert in a non-invasive, less scary way? This is what I've created. And what is going to evolve over time is it's a community. It's called the Retirement Planning Club. And it is specifically for DIY investors and pre-retirees that want to secure their retirement fast. And maybe you aren't working with an advisor, maybe you want to work with an advisor, maybe you just want to get some coaching, maybe you're just kind of all over the place and you have no idea what you want to do. This provides a safe place for you to become a member, get coaching on a weekly basis. I actually have, the power keeps going out here. We're actually having storms right now. So this is kind of fun and interesting to kind of do this during a storm and the power is going out. I actually have a classroom where there's a DIY retirement planning course, which is super comprehensive, step-by-step videos on how to build a retirement plan from start to finish as somebody who is either a DIYer or you just want to get started on your own. I teach you how to do that using personal capital, using NewRetirement and other tools. Okay. So this is a course that's included in the Retirement Planning Club, and people love it. It is, I would say, much more comprehensive than people think it's actually going to be. And it just provides a ton of value, right? So that's all included in the Retirement Planning Club. Every week, like I mentioned, there's going to be office hours where you can, when you become a member, you can join the Zoom room. It's a group coaching call where you can join, ask your questions, get coaching from me and direction and guidance and support. You can talk to the other members. You can ask them questions. You can have collaboration between the other members. And it's just a really good way to connect once a week and get help. All right. And the great thing is you don't have to show up live every week. You can watch the recording because I record all of them, and then we'll post them to the discussion board. And there's a chat feature too, where you can send me a chat and get some coaching and questions answered via chat. So it's just a platform where you can learn, you can get coaching from me in a safe way. You can post questions here. You can see what everyone else is talking about. It's just a really, I keep having that word, like it's just a safe, non-invasive, not scary way to start getting retirement planning help from an expert. I've been building retirement plans for 10 years and I own a wealth management firm. I'm never going to pitch my advisory services unless you ask. Okay. So if somebody is in this community and they want to hire an advisor and you reach out to me, cool. I'll explain to you what that process is and like what my criteria is to become a client. But that's what I really want to stress. This is not a platform for funneling people in pitching to them for advisory services. Absolutely not. This is education. This is support and coaching. And if you want to use this platform as this is how you are going to build a retirement plan, you're going to do it on your own, or maybe you're going to learn a bunch here and then hire a financial advisor, whatever it is, this is just a playground for you to get started, to build a plan that is a quality plan. You can get expert help in a non-invasive way, and you can stay as long as you want, right? If you just want to stay for like a year, it's a month-to-month membership. But if you want to stay for a year, cool. If you want to stay for 5 years, if you want to stay for 20 years, cool. It's up to you. I would encourage people to stay for a while, right? Build relationships, get accountability, have support and accountability. And it's literally the most cost-efficient way for somebody to get access to a financial planner and financial coach on an ongoing basis, right? I'm not here to give you financial advice within this community and space. While I am a fully licensed financial advisor, my goal is not to wear that hat in this community. Like, this is just for education and coaching. But like I said, if you do want to hire a financial advisor, I can point you in the right direction how I would do that if I was in your situation. All right. So yeah, I don't want to go on this rant for too long, but I hope that makes sense. If you're interested, just start your free trial. Okay, so I'll include in the link below in this video, somewhere around or below this video. You get 14 days free, and then after that, it's just $147 a month. Like I said, it's month to month, no contracts, and you can stay as long as you want. You can use this, kind of like for a year. You can use it for a few years. You can, use it how you want to use it. And I would encourage you, like, if you're just unsure, just start the free trial. And then if you feel like, yeah, no, it's not for me, I want something different, cool. But odds are you probably won't have that perspective. But if you do have that perspective, it's an easy out. So, no questions asked. I'm not going to sit here and twist your arm to stay. I'll encourage you to stay, but I'm not going to twist your arm and say, I don't know. I'm not like that. So I would encourage you, if you use these tools, if you use Personal Capital or want to, if you use NewRetirement or want to, if you want to get better at using these tools, if you want to become an expert DIY retirement planner, and learn from somebody who has built hundreds or thousands of different retirement plans over the course of my 10-year career, I would love to coach you through and, one platform or both, on how you can secure your retirement. And, at the end of the day, like these platforms, like I mentioned, they're tools. If you don't know the process and if you don't know how to use the tools, it's just useless. It's like somebody saying like, oh, like now that I have a scalpel, I can perform, surgery, and I can cut into, like a human and perform surgery. Like, no, you can't. You got to go to school. You have to learn. You have to learn from people. You have to know the process, the procedures, what to look out for, the pitfalls, right? Same thing with retirement planning tools. You have to know the process and how to use them. All right. So if you're stuck using these platforms, you're just wanting to become a better DIY retirement planner. If you just want to not necessarily give yourself the title of a DIYer, but you just want to get started planning for retirement on your own terms, then I would really encourage you to join and start your free trial for the Retirement Planning Club. All right. So go to the link below if you want to start your free trial. This is Trent Grzegorczyk, the Retirement Planning Coach. I will see you on the next video. I hope this added value. I hope this added insight to both of those tools and platforms. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It helps me help you. So have a great weekend. All right, guys. Take care. Bye.